Okay, and we are live. I always love the introduction video. It always gets me super excited for the conversation that we're going to be having. So hello, everyone. Welcome to Binance Live and happy International Women's Day to everyone that is watching. We have a really exciting agenda for today's live stream. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll give you a run through of what you could expect and also introduce our speakers at hand. So first of all, joining us today, we have Medha Srivastav, General Counsel of Hashed Emergence. So Medha, thank you for joining today.
Thank you, Jessica. Just a small, tiny correction there. I'm General Counsel for Hashed.
Hashed. Okay, thank you for the correction there. And then we also have Binance's very own Chief Marketing Officer, Rachel Conlan, joining us. Rachel, thank you for tuning in.
Hello, Jessica, and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much. So we have a jam-packed agenda. First of all, a big thank you to our guests taking time out of a very busy schedule to talk to us today. This agenda is all about tapping into some of the real-world insights that we're going to be seeing from two leading visionaries in the space, and also sharing some of their career milestones, advice, and also mentorship expectations for anyone that's looking to level up in the space. So first of all, I think it's really nice to start with a bit of an introduction. And Medha, I would love to start with you on a brief overview of your professional journey and also any milestones that you personally would like to share with us today.
Sure. Thanks, Jessica. Happy International Women's Day to everyone listening in and watching this. So just to give a brief background, I am an India qualified lawyer. I was practicing in the TradeFi side for almost 15 years before I joined Hashed and became part of the Web3 blockchain world. So it's been a very exciting almost 3 years now. And my professional journey started as a law firm lawyer in 2007, and I moved from different law firms. My last role before Hashed, I was a partner in an Indian law firm, and that is where I met Jin Kang, who's the global head of legal for Hashed. And we started working on deals together. I was acting as his external counsel and for the India deals, and then eventually joined the team in 2022. I think personally, my different milestones of the career have been largely the first one would have been when I first became partner in the law firm. And the second was obviously joining Hashed, because I've been a PVC lawyer through my life. And finally at Hashed, I was doing the same work, just on a very focused area. So it was a lot of very quick learning for me from the Web3 space, because Hashed was the first time that I was interacting in the Web3 crypto space on a very regular basis. So it's been quite an exciting journey since 2022. And I think challenges, I think it's challenging to be in this space, right? Everything is developing. As a lawyer, we are looking at new laws, regulations, policies, and therefore everything impacts it. The politics in the world impacts how the legal regulations in crypto will develop. And so those are like day-to-day challenges these days.
Yeah, absolutely agree. You never stop fully learning about crypto. There's always a changing hand that you have to adapt to. So Rachel, same question over to you. I'm sure a lot of the Binanceans will know some of your career journey, but maybe just to share a brief overview and also any particular milestones you'd like to highlight for International Women's Day.
Oof, God, I'm like a 20-year veteran now, as I've been described recently, which always depresses me. But my career has taken me across several different industries. So I've worked across sports, entertainment, startups. I started my career in big advertising network world. And then that all brought me, to Web3. And I think the main thing is I've really been drawn to industries that are fast moving, but also that are either undergoing transformation or disrupting in some way. And I think as a marketeer, that's really drawn me to crypto, because there's obviously this enormous opportunity to build on the amazing work that the founders of the industry have done to shape the narrative, and to help build something new as we go from early adoption, to mainstream. I think a major turning point for me in my career was really joining Binance. Well, moving into the industry and joining Binance. The pace, the scale, just the level of innovation is unlike anything else I've seen in other industries, and I thought that I'd seen everything, and every day is a challenge, but really that's what makes it exciting, is that, the potential and the opportunity. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned as a woman professional in this industry is that agility is key, and that things change really quickly. And usually on a Sunday night when you need to be, ready to move with it. So success really comes from adapting quickly and staying true, though, to the long-term vision.
Fantastic. Now, we had some great feedback from some of our community members when they heard that we were having this conversation, especially in light of International Women's Day, but it's not just a conversation for the ladies. And a lot of people from our community reached out and said that with two really influential women in the space, it would be great to hear a little bit from them on their career journeys and also what has led you both to where you are today. And one word that came up a few times was mentorship, which I thought would be a really good structure for the rest of the conversation. So just to have a little bit of an insight into both of your career journeys, and Medha, we can start with you on mentorship experiences personally, if you've had them throughout your career and how they've positively impacted you, and maybe any advice to anyone that is listening.
Absolutely. I think I believe that good mentorship experience can really shape up your career. And I feel fortunate that I think throughout my professional journey, I have had some great mentors. And for all the women out there, I would like to say that it doesn't have to be just women, actually. In fact, I have had some great male mentors throughout my career, seniors who have supported my work, who have encouraged my journey, and guided the light through. So at workplaces, it has been my sometimes my senior bosses that I was reporting to. It has also been other people in the organization who I'm not directly working with, but who can really guide you as to what your vision, and can totally shape your vision for the future, both men and women. And at a personal level, I feel that a lot of my learning has also come from my parents, and seeing their journey throughout, and how they have worked hard to ensure that we have, my sister and I have had a good education, good learning, how they have encouraged us to always have careers and to do professionally whatever is required to achieve success. So I think in that sense, I believe that mentorship experiences can really influence and shape your career. And my takeaway from all of this is also that we should not, as women, just be focused on female mentors, important as they are. I feel that you should also look out for both men and women who can be equally supportive in your journey.
Fantastic. And Rachel, over to you now. What is your insights when it comes to mentorship throughout kind of traditional marketing, and then also as you have rolled over into the Web3 world?
Yeah, I would agree with Medha on just 2 points that she made there. First of all, I think mentorship starts from a very young age. It's, through your family, whether that be your parents, your aunts, your uncles, like through the observations that you make in terms of how people apply themselves, both personally and family or professionally. And I've been really lucky. I have 3 incredible aunts who, all were pioneers in their relevant industry, at a time in Ireland when not everyone worked, in the 70s and 80s. And they really set an incredible example to me on top of my parents as a young age. But as I kind of graduated and moved, and I started working in internships at the age of 15 and forced myself into roles to try and get experience. And through that, I've been really fortunate to have mentors of both sexes across many different industries, and at different stages in my career, who've really challenged me and pushed me to think differently. Some of them, similar to Medha, they were people I found naturally. They were, bosses I had. And I've had some incredible bosses, brutal bosses, in terms of if you had a spelling mistake, you had to repeat the whole document. And this is, when everything was still printed physically at the age of 21, you'd have printed 100 documents and then you'd have to repeat everything. Not saying that's efficient, but it does teach you an attention to detail. But others came through networking and always putting myself out there and in rooms where I got the opportunity to meet interesting people. Look, the biggest takeaway I have that I'd share with those listening today is that mentorship isn't about having all of the answers. It's also just about having perspective, and different perspectives are sometimes, what can really help you clarify, the path that you need to take forward, or how you approach a different situation. And it's really good to have a variety. And the second biggest takeaway I would have had from, and I've had mentors men, women, very different age groups, very different backgrounds, in terms of some very successful, some those who had, failed and then, were Phoenix-like. But I think the second biggest takeaway I would have taken from those mentors is that you are the only one who can shape your career and your personal life. You have to take control. No one else is going to do that for you. So to take that opportunity, it really is down to your personal motivation and how you want to live your life and how you want to be perceived professionally. And I think those are the two big takeaways I'd have.
Great. Well, we do actually have the opportunity. I'm going to ask both of you kindly to share some of your advice a little bit later, because we have had some community members that have submitted some questions. So we will love to hear your insights and give possibly some advice to our Binanceans that have submitted some of their issues or mentorship queries. But before we do that, I do have one final International Women's Day fun question for you all, just to set the scene. So I'm curious to hear from both of you, and maybe Rachel, we can start with you with this one. If you could have dinner with any one woman in history, who would it be and why? And it doesn't have to be a role model, but it could be someone that's inspiring, that may have impacted your life or your career.
Can I pick two?
Yes, you can pick two.
So I'm going to pick one who is more of a historical icon. And that one has to be Coco Chanel. She didn't just build a fashion brand, she disrupted an entire industry and reshaped culture. And if you know her story and the detail of it, like, it was really an exercise in resilience and pioneering. She truly understood brand and marketing and storytelling before I would say it was even a formal discipline. And I can't even imagine, based on the books I've read and some of the documentaries I've watched on her, she definitely has some incredible stories to share. I'm going to pick another person that's outside of our industry, and that's a woman called Susie Wolf. She runs she runs F1 Formula One Academy. And for those that may not know, my route into crypto was through Formula One, as I was working with them on brand partnerships and brought several crypto brands into that space. But she has been in what I can describe as a truly male-dominated sector. She has been an incredible pioneer and just disrupted. And I think is laying, by working with the relevant stakeholders, is laying, a future industry that is going to be much more inclusive and much more inviting to all.
That sounds like it's going to be a very fun dinner party. If there's a spare invite, I would love to come and join.
Always welcome, Jessica.
And Medha, same question to you. Any woman in history, it could be career, life, influential, that you could pick to be your dinner party historical guest.
I just want to understand, does it have to be history? Because I have a favorite female author, and her name is Elif Shafak. I love her books. She writes so beautifully on women's rights, patriarchy, gender inequality. I mean, I think it would be my strongest wish to actually meet her in person sometime. And I truly admire her for her active voice, where she's so critical of censorship, political oppression, and she's openly discussing issues which could be, which are in a conservative society considered stigma. So she talks about domestic violence, LGBTQ plus rights, mental health, everything. I'd love to have dinner with and call her for for a dinner party.
Fantastic.
And join great parties, Medha.
Yeah.
Bring it together. We'll do it on Binance Live, and everyone wins and everyone
gets
to join.
That's a good one, actually.
We'll schedule it in for next Wednesday. Okay, ladies, fantastic. Thank you so much for your insights so far. It's actually now time to move it over to the mentorship Q&A round, where we have got some of the audience submitted questions. So what I'll do is I will read each individual testimony and question forward, and then feel free to open the floor, and either of you can answer if you wish. So starting off, we have one woman has asked us, I've majored in computer science and I now work in a crypto company, but my parents are not supportive of my choice. What would you say to parents who are hesitant about the crypto industry? Who would like to take this one?
I don't mind starting this, Medha, if you don't mind.
Sure, please.
I had many friends and family who, when I told them I was leaving the sports entertainment space to join crypto, told me, in direct statements, you're making the worst decision of your life. And I was like, well, it's my decision and I will live with the consequences. And I entered in, and over the last 4 years, I've really spent a lot of time educating those individuals, and it's been incredible. They're probably my best audience from a marketing perspective, because like my role is to try and change perception and debunk myths for people who don't understand this space. And they've really helped actually educate me and help me understand how best to do that. And that's been through, talking them through the use cases, explaining the potential of the industry, pointing out, and clarifying with data points what some of the myths are. And I know that's something that, legal are very good at. But it's really taught me in terms of a lot that I apply to my day-to-day. So you're not going to change your parents' perspective overnight. Like what you can do is bring them on a journey and ask them to respect your choices. Explain to them you'll live with the outcomes, but also in parallel help educate them.
I agree with much of what Rachel has said. I mean, I can confidently say that even today, a lot of people may not understand in my family the kind of work that I do. Sometimes I've shared articles within family groups of what I have written, and I have been told, it reads really well, but it all went over my head. So, which is fine, and it's our job ultimately when we are in this industry to let people know what it is about, how can it be useful. So I would say that if you have the conviction to continue working in this industry, then I feel that your role is to let your parents know that you are willing to live with the consequences of your choice and to educate them about the benefits of this industry so that they can come on board with your decisions.
Fantastic. There were some great answers there. And I know when I moved over into crypto full-time in 2017, which was also a big question mark, I managed to onboard my mum into crypto in 2018, which she's a big fan of. She has a CryptoX account, but I agree, it does take some time, and changes like this don't happen overnight.
Well, Jessica, just one extra point. My father rang me recently. I tried to get him to invest in Bitcoin about 3 years ago. And he rang me recently and said, while I usually wouldn't, take financial advice from you, it was the worst decision I've made in my financial investments not to listen to my daughter, and I will not be making that mistake again. And he did buy some, as I explained to him. It's still early, but just like a funny little anecdote.
I love it. We can use that as testament in future marketing, the Rachel's dad indicator. Okay, so our next question is, I'm working hard, gaining experience, but I'm physically and mentally exhausted. Although I'm seeing progress, I'm unsure if pushing myself this hard is worth it in the long run. What would you say to someone struggling with work-life balance in the fast-paced world of crypto? And I think you both have mentioned throughout this stream that crypto is a 24-hour industry and a lot does change. So maybe Medha, we can start with you and then we can end with some insights from Rachel.
So I would say, and my answer here is not just limited to crypto. Having worked even in the TradeFi side and in law firm job can be really grueling. But I would say sustainable success is likely better than any short-term hustle. While crypto is a 24/7 industry, I think the key to sustaining long term in this industry is also that, I think you don't have to be 24/7 connected. You need to draw your own personal boundaries. You need to set designated off hours, and you need to prioritize tasks in this industry. So you need to talk about, you need to have some game plan of how your day would look like and at what point you would switch off and do things for yourself, whether it is, your physical fitness routine, if you like to meditate, just go for a walk. Spend time with your family, do things, spend time, play with your dog, whatever works for you. Because I feel that any job, we will always struggle with work-life balance unless we draw that personal boundary around ourselves. And for long-term success, it is always important to draw that boundary and to take time out for yourself.
And Rachel, over to you. What's your take? Work-life balance in crypto? Because I'm also convinced that you have a clone. For anyone that has not worked with Rachel, she is able to do so much in a day. So I'm curious, what's your take?
Look, how do I say this? I feel like I've been attracted, probably similar to Medha, because I'm married to a lawyer and I know how hard they work, especially in the early days of their careers. I feel like I've always been attracted to industries that are all encompassing and that can engulf your life. Like advertising space, you're on 24/7 with clients because you don't just have one brand, you might have 4 or 5. My perspective, and I'm someone that, when I was 25, I worked for 3 years, 7 days a week, working in advertising world. And I got sick and I didn't realize I was sick. I dislocated in my back and I was walking around essentially with a slip disc and hadn't realized it. And that was a big kind of milestone moment for me because it reminded me of going back to what I'd said earlier of like, you have to, as Medha has said, you have to set your boundaries. And only you knows your capacity. So if you are truly burnt out and if you are truly struggling, like ultimately that's not going to be sustainable. You're not going to be good for anyone if you are like that. So you have to understand like what is it that helps you bring some balance. Like I would argue there is no such thing as balance in this world we live in, whether it be crypto or otherwise. Like if you're doing well at home, probably something's not going right professionally. If you're doing well professionally, there's probably something falling apart at home. So I would say it's up to you to kind of set those moments that allow you to have those rejuvenating moments. For me personally, it's something as simple as getting up and being active every morning. And I set my alarm earlier to get myself out of bed, to go have that coffee, to go do that walk, to go do that workout. So I have some me time. If I'm not feeling up to that, I'll stay in bed for an extra 40 minutes to also rest. So I do think it's up to the individual, and you really have to, this is where I feel like crypto does challenge you, and this industry really challenges you to know and help understand you and your makeup and your body better, because you have to listen to your body and know what you need to do in order to recover and be the best version of yourself. Second thing I would say, it's also just about ensuring that you're working smartly. Like Jessica, I talk to the team a lot about, there's such thing as busy fools, where you can be really busy and fill your day 24/7, but not actually have output. So maybe monitoring your days and your weeks and your months and looking at like, where have I really had impact? Like, did this amount of hours on this really lead to what I needed it to do? So I would say that's kind of 2 things of setting your boundaries, understanding what makes you, rejuvenated, but also secondarily, really auditing yourself and knowing, how it is and what it is that you're applying and what the impact it is it's having. And if it's not having impact, revisit it and break it and start again.
I'd also like to add something here, Jessica. I feel that sometimes, and especially in my interaction with women, I feel that we are very harsh on ourselves. Sometimes we are, when we work too hard or we work late, we are worrying about how the family is doing, how the children are. And when we are spending too much time at home or looking after children, we are worrying about the work that is suffering. I think it's important to give ourselves that sort of break, to not punish ourselves all the time and judge ourselves so harshly. There will be times where work is going to take precedence. You will have to, not do, maybe, I don't know, maybe miss a school event also, maybe do something else. And it's okay. I feel that sometimes we need to be less harsh as women on ourselves. Since we're talking on International Women's Day, I do want to put this across. There will be moments where there will be no work-life balance. Sometimes work will take a lot of precedence. Sometimes your personal life will take precedence. And I think it's fine. Let's not be harsh on ourselves.
Yeah, Medha, I think that's really good. What's funny though? In a way, I almost think it's why, and this is where I'm going to declare that we are the more brilliant sex, is I think it's also what drives women forward. We are the ones who set our standards. Like we set them so high and we almost set them unreachable. I talk to friends about this a lot. So I do agree with you. We got to go easy on ourselves, but also like that is our brilliance, is that we're constantly looking at how we can be better. And that's a lovely trait to have as well. It just needs to be not detrimental. I feel as you get older, Medha, and you have kids and you start realizing it's just not possible, you start going easy on yourself. I wish it's something I could turn around and tell my 21-year-old self.
Yeah.
It will be okay. You can miss a meeting, you can miss a call, you can miss an email. But I do think that it's something that also is part of our brilliance, is that desire to always set new standards.
That's true. And I think it's experience that teaches you a lot of things, right? That it was okay. I should have responded to that call after 5 minutes and listening to my son instead of like immediately responding. But that's fine. And that's what I'm trying to say, that it's fine for you to not have even, been a good mother for 5 seconds to do something work related, and vice versa, because that's what we are balancing so many things together. And
But
it's
also,
important to be, and doing it well. So I feel that we should cut ourselves some slack sometimes.
But also what I do see, and this is where we have a horrible trait as women, is it's other women that can be harder on you as someone with young child who does miss a lot of school activities or does miss that without realizing. And I don't think they're being cruel or mean, but sometimes like other women can judge you for that. And I don't think they even realize they're doing it. But like, as we overanalyze things, we end up being like, oh, okay. So I think it's, I think maybe being kinder to ourselves and kinder to each other, is something that we as women, like, is a lesson that we need to also learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much wisdom in this call. I think we have time for one more question, and this has come through from one community member, and this is really interesting. So this goes back to the career and mentorship and leader conversation. It says, I'm in a position where I have to interview for my potential manager, and I've never had to do this before. What should I be looking for, and what should I ask during the interview to make sure that I choose the right manager? Now, this is an interesting
Rachel,
one.
do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'm happy to. And I actually had to do this previously. And I did not know what to do because I was like 24 years old and didn't know what to do. I think that's an amazing position to be in. And it also means you're trusted if your company is asking you to do this. I also think it's an opportunity for you to really look at what you need in your role in order to be successful. So a couple of things I would say to look for. One, is this someone that you can learn from? Is it someone that you believe in your interactions through how they present themselves or how they talk through how they dealt with situations? Is it someone that you feel like you could learn from, you could work with? And I obviously would assume, given the company's asked you to do this, that they want that perspective because they really rate you and want you to be part of the team. So that's the primary fact. Second, the primary lens I think you should look at it through. Secondarily, I personally believe chemistry in the workplace is so important. And I think looking at, not that you have to be best friends, I think that's an illusion, that does not need to happen, but do you have a positive chemistry? And do you think that like through collaboration or do you bring different skills to the table that will help bring the team and level it up, whatever is the project or the business that, the specific business that you're in. So I think those would be the two tips I would give is look at, is this someone you can learn from? And second of all, look at, is this someone that you can create brilliance with?
Excellent.
I agree with Rachel on this. I think just one more thing to add. If I had to interview this, and I would say that one of the questions that I'd like to be answered in such a situation would be, how do you approach mistakes made by your team? Because I think managers who can give constructive feedback and who look at mistakes as learning opportunities are likely to turn into great mentors at some point of time. So everyone makes mistakes at some point in their professional work. It could be a typo, it could be I think in the legal field, it could be a clause which you have not thought through. But a good manager is someone who teaches you what went wrong rather than just being, just yell at you about it. So I think it's very important for a good manager for us to know how a manager would treat mistakes.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, they are the questions that we have had submitted today. So first of all, a huge thank you to all the Binancians that have submitted. And it was really fantastic to hear both of your feedback. So Medha, Rachel, thank you so much. And we really appreciate you joining for International Women's Day live stream. It was such a pleasure to hear a little bit more, and I'm sure our community found it extremely valuable. So Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It was lovely to be part of this discussion.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. And we'll have to see if we can get the dinner party arrangements for next International Women's Day. We've set a very high standard now, so keep your eyes peeled.
Thanks, Jessica, as always.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, happy International Women's Day. And remember, keep breaking through those barriers, have the courage to take risks and the persistence to move forward in the world of Web3. See you all again very soon.